Senator Daines.
Mr. Waltz, thank you for being here today, and thank you for your very distinguished service to our great nation and Special Forces. I very much enjoyed our conversation yesterday, and thank you for accepting going through this process to play a very important role here at the United Nations. Mr. Waltz, as you know, the United Nations has become a hotbed of anti-Semitism, a hotbed of anti-Israeli sentiment. UN employees participated in the October 7th attacks, and Israeli hostages were held at UN facilities for months. The UN recently reappointed Francesca Albanese despite her repeatedly stated support for Palestinian resistance and regurgitation of anti-Israel blood libel. My question, Mr. Waltz, is you clearly have your work cut out for you at the UN. Can you tell us more about how you plan to counter the anti-Semitic influence of UN officials like Ms. Albanese?
Well, thank you, Senator, and I always enjoy our engagement as well, and your advocacy for the America First agenda. I mean, just to add a couple points to your list and then to answer your question, it's notable that the military leader of Hamas, Mohammed Sinwar, had an UNRWA badge on him in the tunnels of Gaza. There's indications that the World Health Organization and its hospitals, they knew that tunnels were being built underneath and knew that these hospitals were being used. And I have some of our veterans with you, have literally been shot at by terrorists hiding behind women and hiding behind children, and for Hamas to literally line the walls of its hideouts with hostages to protect its leadership is atrocious, and it should be called out at every turn. Yet, we just had to veto a resolution in the Security Council that went after Israel in what is absolutely a horrific war, and didn't even mention Hamas. And certainly didn't mention the fact that its leaders deliberately sacrifice, as a matter of strategy and tactics, deliberately sacrifice their own people in order to turn world opinion against Israel. So I think probably the easiest way to answer your question is sunlight is often the best disinfectant, and to continue to spotlight it and use not only the platform that is this position, but I think one of the best communicators in the world, which is President Trump, Secretary Rubio, and the leadership in this administration to continue to call it out.
Mr. Waltz, thank you, and I'm grateful that you have moral clarity on this important issue. And certainly, as somebody who, like yourself, you have served in special operations. These are not theoretical exercises for you. You've seen the conflict between good and between evil. We talked a bit about Central Asia yesterday, Mr. Waltz. It's a vitally important region, rich in natural resources. As you mentioned, you've spent some time over there in your prior career. Much of those resources are untapped, and the region could be a valuable new partner for energy exports to Europe. The UN, unfortunately, has pushed Central Asian countries to only adopt really a radical green agenda instead of more a balanced approach of all the above energy. And these radical green development goals could hinder the growth and success of developing countries like we see in Central Asia. Mr. Waltz, how can you, as UN ambassador, ensure that Central Asia is encouraged to take advantage of its vast and considerable energy resources to foster a more sustainable and a prosperous future?
Yeah, thank you, and I appreciated the conversation and always learn a lot from them. One of the things that I admire about how President Trump approaches diplomacy, we saw it in his first Middle East trips, what I call commercial diplomacy. The thing that binds people together often is business. It transcends dogma. It transcends ancient ideologies. You're seeing that in the Abraham Accords. When people are talking about data centers and rail and roads, they're not talking about thousand-year-old hatreds in Central Asia in particular. I mean, going back to the old TAPI pipeline, Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, one could only imagine if that had been in place. And now everyone has a common economic interest rather than fighting each other. I think we have real opportunities with Turkmenistan for the first time in a long time for their gas to head westward rather than eastward. We talked about the C5 grouping. We talk about Azerbaijan and their desire to not only come closer to the United States, but to perhaps put a real agreement in place with the Armenians, a real agreement in place with the Israelis, the commercial opportunities that abound for not only for American business, but that will change the geopolitical landscape. And I look forward to working with you and those groupings within the UN along those lines under the President Secretary's leadership.
Mr. Waltz, thank you.
Thank you.